The CoinDesk Spotlight is brought to you by Nexo, the place to earn on Bitcoin, Ethereum, and more.
This week, the art, gaming, and crypto worlds collide for NFT.NYC, a week-long sold-out conference that dives into the world of non-fungible tokens. Joining us now with more is Jimmy McNellis, an NFT collector and CEO of NFT42. Hello there, Jimmy. Welcome to the show. So last year, we had the summer of DeFi. This year, it seems to be the summer of NFTs. Talk to me. I'd love to hear about your best NFT investment and describe what your criteria is when it comes to collecting them.
Thanks for having me on the show. I guess my best NFT investment would probably be I purchased about a dozen autoglyphs on the day they were minted in 2019. And for those that don't know, autoglyphs were created by the same company, Larva Labs, that created CryptoPunks, one of the original NFTs. And the autoglyphs, there was only 512 of those created. I think I paid 0.2 ETH for the ones that I minted, and they're currently trading above 300 ETH a piece.
Good morning, Jimmy. There's obviously a lot of froth in the NFT market right now. What do you see as the biggest challenges facing the NFT market, or the biggest obstacles at the moment?
Well, the landscape's changed a lot over the last 6 months. Before, it was just a matter of finding developers to create your project. Now it's actually a matter of community and marketing in order to really reach the audience you need in order to have a successful project. I think projects now need a substantial roadmap and to show execution on it, whereas before it was okay to just release a collectible for being a collectible itself and not have to have any specific utility attached to it. But I think now it's, utility, community, marketing, and delivering on your promises that really makes a difference in a project success.
So, Jimmy, specifically, what's the next frontier in NFTs? Like, where does this go next? What kind of projects, what kind of platforms, et cetera, do you think investors and people who want to get involved, or people who are heavily involved, actually, what should they be looking at as the next growth opportunity here?
I think if we knew how to predict that, then we'd already have seen the next trend. Bored Apes really did really well this summer, and everybody started to copy what Bored Apes did with the personal profile picture projects and, creatures having a collection attached. I think that NFTs themselves are a new primitive of the internet. It's literally a foundational layer of the internet. You can prove you own a digital asset. This is a new idea that has not existed for the last 20 years. We had Napster, where we could just download music and movies onto our computers, and that was the only way to get digital content. Now we can attach an ownership layer to these files. It's coming next. We're going to see NFTs attached to nearly every type of digital content that exists. I don't really know that gives a great indication as to what to expect next from the market itself, but I'm here for more of the technology than the hype. So that's generally what I'm thinking about, is how to get NFTs into the hands of enterprise.
How do you think?
Do you think we might see? Do you think we might see that kind of those NFTs attached to maybe physical rights as well, real world rights that could be traded in that kind of way? I'm just thinking rights to ownership. Yeah. How far away do you think it'll be before the market accepts it?
I think we're approaching that point right now. I can't discuss the particulars of it, but I signed a IP deal this week with a major label on some of my NFT assets. I think we're going to start to see a lot more of the NFTs that have commercial rights attached to them be leveraged in a substantial way, for starters. And then as far as like physical ownership of goods like your car or something like that, I think that it's just a matter of we start great NFTs.
Okay. I'm wondering about your thoughts on Meta, formerly Facebook, getting into the metaverse. Mark Zuckerberg talking about NFTs. Is this a good thing for Facebook and Mark Zuckerberg to get into, or not a good thing for the community at large?
I am extremely bullish on Facebook rebranding to Meta and getting involved in our terminology and trying to understand the space that we're playing in. NFTs are one part of this next version of the internet that we call the metaverse. And so Mr. Zuckerberg is just generally trying to stay ahead of trends and make sure that Facebook is positioned for the future. And that makes me extremely excited about everything I've been working on for the last 4 years with NFTs.
Jim, do you collect any physical art, any real world physical art at all?
I didn't before, but I have amassed quite a collection since I started collecting NFTs. I realized that I did have an affinity for collecting art, and through the process of collecting NFT art, I actually started to collect physical art. Yeah, I have quite a collection.
That's a cool
like
bridge
what?
to make. Yeah.
Anything specific?
Like what? I have a couple cause statues that are pretty near and dear to my heart, and then I actually made a trade from a traditional art collector who was trying to get into the NFT space, and me, an NFT collector trying to get into the traditional art space. We made a couple trades, and I have a couple of really nice pieces that have sentimental value, but are like also known artists doing the work. I'd rather not mention them by name, but really the one anyways.
Yeah. Just one last question before we close out. CryptoKitties, the first non-fungible token, was huge. Now it's not. It was a bubble. So what differentiates the projects now from, what CryptoKitties was?
Oh, CryptoKitties. That's where I got started in 2017. So I'm very familiar with that market and how that works. Some of the founders, the first 100 NFTs ever created, the founders are still actually doing rather well. They're trading in the 100 to 200 ETH range. But I think the biggest lesson to be learned from CryptoKitties was that the supply is way too much at the moment in time. There's over 2 million CryptoKitties. And it's a very complicated project to understand, so it's hard to approach. I think simplicity in your messaging and your marketing and your product is really important at this juncture. Since NFTs themselves are a pretty new, primitive, and complicated to a lot of folks, you don't want to dive much deeper than that, otherwise you cut off a wide audience.